people develop some amount of respectability, and they start to mistakenly believe that that because people listen to them, that everything they say is right.
I think that's a really good interpretation of the prophets.
So you know, they're able to throw out things that may be wildly off base, but because they're already respected in some other capacity, people will say, "Oh yeah, big man in the sky, that makes sense."
Yeah.
And so people tend to reinforce each other's crazy ideas.
I think dissecting the origin of religion and how it kind of came to be and how we've applied it and developed it is really important in understanding, you know, where we stand with religion today. It seems like there's a really big movement of people who are basically tired of it, you know, in all forms.
Yeah,
so I appreciate you guys taking the time to take my call. And
thanks. Sorry we had
one last thing I'd like to
trouble earlier.
point out to you guys. Just real quick, what do you guys think we should do in light of the fact that most religion very well may be man-made and people come into grips with this, and how should we kind of approach that problem?
Keep arguing.
I
mean,
the problem being what? People learning that that religion is a man-made thing.
The fundamentalist faith.
Oh, okay.
People that we're right no matter what. You know, much like Islam. How do you approach that problem in light of the fact that we're kind of uncovering evidence, especially for the God of Abraham, to say that this very likely historically is not true?
Yeah. Well, just to keep that freedom of speech thing going and speak your mind and don't. And this is a reason, you probably saw at the beginning of the show when we were talking about how the Pope was, coming down on atheists and being this is this is that kind of backlash that what we're seeing are these religious institutions that have for a very long time enjoyed a position of privilege in our culture, suddenly realizing that a lot of people don't see them as being all that privileged all that much. They're fallible human beings. They're in many cases guilty of crimes. They're guilty of just as many bad things as the sinners they like to wag their fingers at the pulpit every Sunday. And they don't like being called out on these things, and they're starting to see this authority that they have just enjoyed and taken advantage of, taken for granted for so many years, is being stripped away from them. Now, you're going to get a backlash from them because of that, but you just have to you have to realize that all you have to do is speak your mind, truth to power, all that kind of stuff.
I'm a fan of ridicule.
And just realize that the backlash is going to come, and just say, yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm going to stick to my guns here, and I'm gonna if I see you guys doing bad stuff, I'm going to call you on it.
Well, again, guys, thanks for taking my call, and I still maintain that in the sense of education, you guys are very much professors of logic, and I thank you for it.
Oh, good girl.
Just said we're not.
Okay.
Well, thank you for calling.
You're too kind.
And we mean it.
Yes.
Okay. Line 1, I guess, would be Pat. Pat, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Sorry we hung up on you.
Sorry for hanging up on you.
See?
It's okay.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
We are well.
Thanks.
I just want to say I'm so grateful that you guys have this show. I just started listening to it. I just started listening to it I guess maybe a couple months ago, because my son listens to you religiously.
That's a good way to listen to us.
But excuse me. What I wanted to say is, first of all, to people, the Christians out there, first of all, I want to say to be Christian means to be Christ-like. The word Christ comes from the Greek word Christos, which means God and man, which is the spiritual energy. And the reason I say it's spiritual energy is because it's invisible. You can't see it. And that's why I call it spiritual. And the thing about the Bible is...
wait.
Hang on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay, and the thing about the Bible is, those stories are written in allegories, and they aren't supposed to be taken literal. But the people that put those stories together, the organizations that put them together, knew, because of the ignorance of people at the time then and now, that people would not delve deep into themselves to realize that these stories were not intended to be taken literal, and they have taken them literal because that was the point. And they were made like that for control and power, and for certain groups of people to be superior over all, which is not the truth of what life is all about. But the hardcore Christians, when it comes to religion, it's like they leave their brains outside the door. They can think about everything else, but when it comes to religion, they go totally stupid.
So your point is that you think that essentially Christians are missing the point.
They are totally missing the point.
Yeah.
They are totally missing the point. They have been systematically, deliberately deceived and misled into believing something that's never going to happen, something that's never going to take place. And if you understand, I look at the way of comprehension. A lot of that stuff is the allegories, and the allegories are stuff that you have to figure out for the deeper meanings and messages. And if most people can't follow a regular book written in plain English and pass a comprehension test, how are they going to read the Bible, which is written in Old English and has been transferred so many times? And you can't even, how are you going to understand that when you can't understand simple stuff? And the thing about religion is Jesus never said he died for anybody. He never said any of those things. And he's not the Savior. What he did was I read this stuff, and I understand it because I use the power within me to understand this stuff.
Okay.
And excuse me?
Yeah, we're going to ask you some questions now.
Right.
Okay.
Sure.
So you say that everybody else is reading the Bible wrong and you're reading it right. Is
No,
that
what
right?
I'm saying is they are misunderstanding that those stories are allegories.
Okay.
Okay.
And allegories are stories that that are written but not to be taken literal because they have a deeper meaning and message.
So the whole story of Jesus, is that an allegory or was there a Jesus?
Jesus was a prophet. He was a
Okay.
prophet.
How do
He
you
was a
know
prophet.
that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this, in other words, what we're asking you is, you have an interpretation of the Bible that you're telling us right now. You say it's a collection of allegorical stories. Fine.
Yes.
And there are other Christians out there, and institutionalized churches, what have you, and they have interpretations of the Bible that are a lot more literal than yours. Yes. This is all well and good. The problem is, how do you propose to demonstrate to people like us outside of the fold that yours is correct, theirs isn't, that there's really any more reason to believe in, say, the reality of what you call the spiritual energy any more than there is to believe in a deity in the heavens or Jesus as some sort of transcendent being.
Right.
That's kind of what we're getting at.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, we're with you on a lot of stuff, like, they believe in a lot of silly things like the rapture and a literal flood and stuff
they
like
believe
that,
in, they
which is
claim to understand
allegorical.
things that they can't that they don't actually understand. We agree with you there too.
Right, but
Yeah.
you're also telling us, I mean, I assume you're implying that the Bible is still kind of a book of revealed truth from the creator of the universe. It just doesn't say what they think it says. Am I right about that?
Yes. Yes.
So I mean, where we part company, of course, is that the Bible has any use in understanding some fundamental truths about the universe. I mean, can you enlighten us a little bit about how you came to that conclusion?
Okay, I sure I can. Well, what happened? Have you heard of chakras, like the chakras inside the body?
Yes.
Yeah, but that's not really a Christian concept, is it?
Hold on. Have you ever heard of out-of-body experience?
Yes.
Yes, but they're generally
okay.
they generally don't stand up under investigation.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Back in 1975,
I want to see how this
Okay.
God, which I call God, and I call God because it's a higher energy, a supreme power that exists inside me.
Okay.
It's the power that I'm made from. The energy that I'm made from in form. Because without form, it's just invisible energy. With form, it's you, me, and the physical universe. And I tapped into this energy back in 1975 when I had no idea that it exists, because I was brought up traditional religion, Baptist.
Okay.
I tapped into this religion. I mean, into this energy inside myself, but it's inside me. I tapped into it.
What does tapping into it mean exactly? What happened?
I mean, I was in a state of meditation, and I was asking myself, who am I?
Okay.
Okay.
And I didn't get anything for hours.
Okay.
Now all of a sudden, I felt this calm inside my body that was deeper than I was big, and it scared me. And so I found myself, like tensing up. And on the top of my head, with my eyes closed, I see the words, "Don't be afraid." I hear myself answer, "Okay." And I'm looking inside myself with my eyes closed. I could see, and I felt this energy. I was ready to coming up through me, like a hum, like I was getting ready to take off in a rocket or something. And when it got to the top of my head, it just opened up, and I'm laying on my bed, and I see myself walk outside my body.
Okay.
And I'm looking at myself, and I'm going, what in the world is going on? And I travel to the ends of the earth and back in seconds. In seconds. In literal seconds.
Okay.
And I had this incredible experience, had no idea what it was.
All right.
And I was telling everybody about it, and they thought I was crazy. And I found one lady who understood metaphysics. She said what that was gifts of the spirit that I had tapped into a part of myself that most people would never, ever get a chance to, and I'm going to have something to do.
Okay.
So suppose
let us ask.
You go ahead,
yeah.
Martin.
And then let me think. Because of this stuff, I brought 2 people out of a coma that the doctor said they weren't coming out.
Oh, really?
Because I had experience of the astral world, the invisible world. I had been there.
Okay.
The reason I know about the life process and how it works.
You're going to have to take a break here so that we can have a dialogue.
Yeah.
Okay.
We really. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the long and short of it is that in 1975 you had an experience that was extremely profound. That sounds a lot like experiences that a great many friends of mine have had that are called hallucinations. Are you familiar with that concept? I mean, are you familiar with...
Hallucinations are usually drug-induced.
But not necessarily. I mean, the
always.
brain is full of chemicals, and and
true.
sometimes those chemicals can make your brain do interesting things. You can have, for example, in the regular sleep state, you can have what's called either a hypnagogic or hypnopompic hallucination.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's it. That's when you're awake, but you're not quite, and
Right.
you know, so things. So in other words, the brain is a fascinating thing, and all kinds of stuff can happen to it to
But it's
make
not
it
the brain,
function in an
actually.
altered state.
It's actually not the brain. It's the soul working through the brain.
Yeah, but see,
Yeah,
here's the
but
thing: is that
you're
we know
saying that.
brains exist, and
Right.
we don't,
Sure.
we don't really know. We haven't really gotten any evidence here that souls exist. I mean, we know that believers claim that they do, but with that lacking evidence for a soul, we're kind of left with the brain here, and it does sound like, your experience sounds like any number of hallucinations.
Everything that exists in the material world already exists in the invisible world because I've been there.
Pat,
And-
let me ask you a question, because
Sure.
I mean, you're telling us about experiences that we haven't had. So I want to ask you,
Right.
what would happen if I introduced you to somebody and he said, one time in 1975, I was in a state of deep meditation, and all of a sudden, Jesus appeared in front of me. And he told me specifically that every word of the Bible is literally true, that Noah's flood really happened, that there's a real hell, that all this stuff is exactly what it says in the Bible. Would you believe that guy?
No, I would not. You know why I wouldn't believe him?
Why?
Because, first of all, it goes against the principles of the universe.
But
It goes against
from
the
his
principles-
point of
the laws
view,
of the universe are immutable.
but
those
from
things
his
go
point of
against
view,
laws.
but from his point of view, the stuff that
Yeah.
you're saying would go against what he thinks is the principles of the universe. So I mean, I think you'd be right not to believe that guy's experience, no matter how convinced he was that he had figured something out about the way the universe works. Are you with me there?
I'm with you.
Okay.
So can you see why it's a little difficult for us to go along with you when you tell us that you went to the universe, the ends of the universe and back in
Well, this is
seconds and
this is
found
how-
out stuff that we don't know?
Well, this is how, too. And another thing, I mean, I had so many experiences that I took those experiences that I had and I acted on them. And this is how I learned.
Well, that's
about
fine,
the
but I
life-
mean, it still doesn't.
life
It
process.
still doesn't get us back
And
to.
it proved it. And it proved it. I mean,
Well-
the way I found out that the stories were allegories, I was told from within, and it's like a veil lifted from my eyes to let me see the clues. See, the Bible's full of clues.
Well,
But that's
fair enough. But
exactly what a fundamentalist would say when they tell you how they know that the Bible is literally true, wouldn't they?
You know what?
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, the things are changing in the world because, first of all, people are tired of all this foolishness they've been told because they don't see it. They've been told that Jesus died for us.
True.
that
I'm
Jesus
not
comes back
sure
to
the
get
cure
them.
for that is more bullshit.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I know, but Christians believe that.
Yes,
Christians
but-
believe that.
we know,
I mean,
and-
but what they don't believe is this is the physical material world. They think that Jesus went to prepare something for them. The invisible world or the spirit world, because it's invisible, is just that invisible. There's nothing to prepare. The
Yes, but see,
preparation
Pat, this
done
is-
here on earth while you have a body.
right. But okay, let me just go ahead and ask you essentially the same questions that I ask a traditional Christian. All right, which is fine. Okay, we've heard your claims of having these experiences. Fine. Since we did not have these experiences, right, and since we weren't privy to this very personal experience that you had,
Right.
what I would ask you is, how do you propose